Welcome back to my channel and thank you once again for stopping by. This week we're looking at a brand spanking new guitar from Schecter, the Omen Elite. I always get really excited when I start looking at the kind of £400 to £600 price point with guitars, because there is just so much like good value to be had there these days. It really does amaze me what some of these companies are able to sort of put out specs and hardware wise for that price point. And manufacturers kind of fiercely compete for that price bracket because that's just where the volume is, really. The affordable end, you know, 400 to 600 quid, maybe 300 to 600 quid. And this guitar falls slap bang in the middle of that. So brand spanking new, this guitar is 480 English pounds. I should just say at this point that that is exactly what I've paid to source this guitar. Schecter have not asked me to do this review in any way. This is my totally unbiased opinion on it. There is so much choice in the mid-range price bracket for guitars. It really is like an exciting kind of price bracket to shop in, and certainly there's a few guitars I've seen in researching and coming up with the review for this one that I'm definitely going to be checking out on the channel soon. But anyway, let's look at this one. This is the 2022 Omen Elite 6. Now this comes in a variety of different colors, red, blue, there's a wild kind of charcoal one. This is transparent black. This has a poplar burl top with a transparent black finish over the top, which I'm sure you'll agree looks stunning, and I think looks a lot more expensive than what it actually is. This guitar first caught my eye on the wall in my local guitar store, and it didn't have a price on it, but it was up there with some kind of more expensive instruments like £600, £700, £800 Ibanez's, and it did not look out of place at all. When they said it was 480 brand spanking new, I was very surprised. Specs wise, this is a good old 25.5-inch scale length. We have some really nice attention to detail and kind of specs on this guitar. Starting with the tone and volume pots, they're really cool. They kind of look like shotgun shells, like if you're looking at it head on, at least to my eye. I looked at them and I thought, they're going to be really slippy and annoying, you know, kind of in the way that like traditional Les Paul and Stratocaster pots can be, because they're just solid plastic. However, Schecter have seen fit to put this rubberized kind of textured ring around them, and it actually works really well. They look great, they function great, big fan of those. The pickups are the Diamond Heretic. They're basically Schecter's own brand pickups. Now, again, there's a nice attention to detail with these in that they have kind of like a transparent red kind of reflective finish on them, again, which I think looks quite premium. We have a 5-way toggle switch, which includes coil splits, and I'll show you some tones on that in a minute. This certainly feels like a real nice quality toggle switch. It's definitely up there with my much more expensive Schecter C1 Elite that I've got sat next to me. We have a rosewood fingerboard, and we have a Graphtec Tusk XL nut, which is really nice to see at this price point, actually. This is a really good nut. I've had it on a few different guitars. It lends itself to having excellent tuning stability. There is this annoying habit of manufacturers at the minute to put plastic fucking nuts on guitars, and I've played some Ibanez's more expensive than this with plastic nuts. Please stop doing it, manufacturers, they're so shit. The machine heads are probably, I would say, the only thing maybe letting this guitar down aesthetically. They are just bog standard die-cast machine heads, branded Schecter. As you can see, it's a bolt-on construction with 4 bolts, a satin finish on the neck, which feels really nice and comfortable. Now, in terms of the body, it's an arch top shape. This guitar is really quite thin and the guitar is really quite light, so it's super comfortable to play. And I must say, I actually prefer this body shape to my way more expensive Schecter C1 Elite, because it's just thinner and more kind of comfortable. Certainly the Schecter C1 is not uncomfortable, but I just find that with the contours, and maybe it's just the overall thickness, I think, I just feel more comfortable with this guitar. Now Schecter's neck profile is, they advertise it as a thin C. The best way I can kind of communicate this to you is it's thicker than an Ibanez, thinner than an Epiphone or Gibson. That's how I would kind of sum it up. I think it's a good neck. It probably lends itself maybe a little bit more to rhythm playing than lead playing, just in terms of the string spacing as well. Now here's a really interesting thing about Schecter. Schecter actually have a longer lineage of making pickups than they do guitars. Now the price point this guitar kind of falls into, you are pretty much only gonna get own brand pickups for that sort of price point, with only like a couple of minor exceptions from Cort and Harley Benton. I have reviewed Schecter guitars on this channel with own brand pickups and loved the sound of them. The last one was the C7 Blood Moon. Check out the review on this channel for that guitar. It was a build quality disaster, but the pickups sounded really, really nice. So if you are shopping for a new axe between the sort of $400 to $600 price bracket, and you are looking at stuff that's going to have own brand pickups, I would definitely sort of prioritize Schecter, really, because in my experience, they really know what they're doing in making pickups. In general, I find that Schecter engineer their pickups to be quite mid-range focused, like quite honky. A lot of metal or hard rock focused pickups have a kind of scooped, compressed quality, and Schecter kind of voice their pickups in a slightly different way. So these are super honky and super kind of blargy, as you're going to see now. Now I've lined up a couple of profiles on my Kemper Rack for you to demonstrate this guitar. This is a profile of a PRS Archon head with the bridge pickup. There's a good amount of chug. Yeah, it's really, really honky. There tends to be this thing where if you have kind of cheap own brand pickups, they can sound really like fizzy and just nasty and like unpleasant sounding. These to my ear are just not like that. They sound like proper good, decent, you know, voiced pickups. The neck pickup is not without its faults. Now, as I said, this guitar has a 5-way blade selector, so you have bridge, middle, neck, but in between you also have coil splits. Now, just listening to the neck pickup on its own, like not horrible, but just kind of muddy. However, if you engage the coil split on the neck pickup, it cleans it right up. It just cleans all that mud right up. Let's go back to the neck. And then with the coil split. And I'll just show you quickly the split on the bridge pickup. I mean, even just looking at this from kind of a value for money perspective, having such a wide array of tones is just fantastic. Now, Schecter typically have an extremely good reputation for build quality. Certainly, nearly every Schecter that's passed through my hands has been exceptionally well built, apart from the C7 Blood Moon that was a total disaster. Check out the review on my channel of that one. I am really pleased to report that this guitar is extremely well built, not just for the price point, but just in general. Not a single fret is sharp or sprouting or even has any kind of paint residue on it. It's a really nicely done job. The nut is mounted about as cleanly as you could really expect for this sort of price point. It's not amazingly perfect, but it's totally fine. The overall kind of finish, like in terms of the quality of the top, the switch gear, all of it really just feels really nice. Like none of it feels cheap at all, really. Like I said, the only thing really letting it down is the machine heads, and I've got a feeling that they're probably the only thing that's kind of negatively affecting the tuning stability of this guitar. Now, the only fault I've been able to identify with this guitar is there is kind of like a chunk of wood missing out of the headstock. Like, it's not massive. Here's a picture of it. It could be transport damage. To be honest with you, it more looks like a manufacturing fault because it kind of goes with the grain of the wood. It's a little bit disappointing. I mean, it's not the end of the world. There is just a tiny amount of paint missing out of one of the pickup cavities. We really are nitpicking now. Like, you can just see a little bit of bare wood. Like, I mean, for this price point, you can totally forgive that. Like, it's not an issue at all. I just thought I'd mention it because it's something I noticed. Overall, I am extremely impressed with how well this thing feels. It feels extremely solid. All the switch gear is really nice to use, doesn't feel nasty at all. The bridge is fine, as good as you could expect for this price point. Really am just like quite impressed with this thing. This guitar has a WI serial number, so it's from the Indonesian World Musical Instruments factory, which make everything under the sun nearly. It's a bloody good factory. You know, they're not totally infallible, but I have played some excellent instruments from that factory, and this is another one of them. So in conclusion, sub 500, I don't think you could do much better than this at that price point. Stick a set of nice lock-in machine heads on this thing, and this is ready to go. So consider me thoroughly impressed, and consider me excited to review more guitars at this price point, because it really impresses me that you're able to get something like this for less than 500 quid. Thank you again for tuning in to check out this guitar review. If you found it entertaining or useful in any way, think about chucking me a subscribe because it helps me and encourages me to keep creating content for you. For all of you who have been kind enough to ask how you can financially support the channel, I have gone ahead and set up a Buy Me a Coffee link, which you can use in the video description below. Are there any affordable guitars you would like to see on the channel? If there are, stick your suggestions down in the comments below and I will certainly see what I can do for you. Take care of yourselves in the meantime, and I'll see you on the next video.